I remain motionless at the doorway of the copper elm, my silk top catching the warm chandelier glow. The hostess, tall and elegant with impeccable bearing, instantly knows who I am. Miss Harper, what a pleasure to see you this evening. Her genuine warmth catches me off guard, creating an unexpected flutter of appreciation in my chest. And may I say, congratulations on your recent advancement. Thank you. I manage, my voice sounding more confident than I actually feel. I adjust my blouse, an expensive purchase I rationalized for this very moment, and trail behind her through the dining room. The Copper Elm represents more than Boulder's finest establishment. It's a sanctuary of rich wood and sparkling crystal that I've passed countless times, gazing through windows at festivities I could never previously afford. Your reservation for 5 guests, she announces, indicating a circular table dressed in ivory linens, positioned elegantly beneath a modest copper fixture. Your sparkling wine awaits, as you requested. A gleaming ice bucket stands ready beside our seating, cradling the bottle I'd spent weeks researching. $300 of hope, of triumph, of family finally acknowledging my success. Wonderful. I breathe, settling into my seat and glancing at my timepiece. 10 minutes ahead of schedule, ample time for their arrival. I adjust the table settings meticulously, straightening cutlery here, positioning napkins there. My device chimes with congratulatory messages from coworkers. My supervisor's note brings a smile, youngest senior strategic director in our organization's history. They'd better be celebrating the moment they walk in. The waiter approaches, with practiced grace. Shall we wait for your party before uncorking the champagne? Yes, absolutely. They'll arrive momentarily. I respond. I check my watch once more. North Boulder traffic can be challenging. He acknowledges with a nod and sets down a basket of fresh bread. I'll return shortly. Time passes slowly. I rearrange the place settings repeatedly. The bread grows cold and untouched. The champagne develops droplets of moisture. More water while you wait. The server returns, his expression kind in a way that tightens my throat. Please, I manage a smile. My mother likely got delayed with my aunt. They're habitually late. 15 minutes stretches to 30. 30 extends to a full hour. The server ceases asking about ordering. Instead, he quietly tops off my water whenever it drops below halfway. His tactfulness provides both comfort and embarrassment. I retrieve my phone to check messages. Nothing from Mom. Nothing from Tyler. Nothing from Aunt Valerie or Uncle Darren. I'd sent a reminder earlier today, called Mom yesterday to confirm. We'll attempt to be there, she'd said, her tone detached, as though I'd interrupted something more pressing. Tyler has some announcement to share. My fingers hesitate over the keyboard. Should I call? Text? The restaurant pulses with life around me. Laughter and chatter. The musical clink of glasses, silverware scraping against fine porcelain. Every sound emphasizes what this evening was meant to represent. Finally, my phone vibrates. Not a call or message, just a social media alert. I open it and feel the breath leave my body in one devastating blow. An image fills my screen. Mom embracing Tyler, Uncle Darren hoisting a beer, Aunt Valerie laughing with abandon. They're at Lakeside Bar and Grill, their regular spot. Tyler poses proudly beside what appears to be his latest acquisition, a massive ATV, shining with excessive chrome. The caption reads, "Celebrating Tyler's new ride, $11,000 well invested." The timestamp shows 30 minutes ago, during my reservation slot. I examine their expressions closely, searching for any trace of remorse, any indication they'd remembered and deliberately chosen otherwise. There's nothing. Just pure happiness, untainted by guilt. As I study the photograph, a text from Mom finally arrives. You're not exactly our main concern right now. Enjoy your wine, though. Something shatters within me. Not loudly, but with the quiet finality of ice cracking on a frozen lake. A single tear escapes before I can stop it. The server notices, but says nothing. He brings the bill, $120 for a celebration that never occurred. I hand over my credit card without reviewing the amount again. What's one more charge on an already overflowing account? Just this morning, my colleagues had gathered outside my office, applauding as my boss announced the promotion. Noel Harper has shattered every company record, he'd proclaimed. Youngest senior strategic director in our history. I'd immediately called Mom afterward, heart racing with childish excitement I should have abandoned by 34. That's nice, dear, she'd responded. We'll try to make dinner. Tyler has some news to share. The server returns with my card. Can I bring you anything else, Miss Harper? I rise, collecting both my purse and my dignity. No, thank you. You've been exceptionally kind. He pauses, then speaks quietly. Congratulations on your promotion. They missed something remarkable tonight. I nod, unable to speak past the obstruction in my throat. Walking through the restaurant, past tables of joyful families and intimate couples, I feel simultaneously invisible and exposed. A woman departing alone from a table arranged for 5, an unopened bottle of champagne marking her exit. My apartment door closes behind me 40 minutes later. I stand still in the dim foyer, still wearing my silk top and heels from a dinner nobody attended. The quiet envelopes me like a familiar, yet suffocating embrace. I kick off my shoes. One slides across the hardwood, the other lands on the thin rug I discovered at a yard sale 3 summers back. My apartment is practical but minimal, contrasting sharply with the luxurious restaurant I just departed, and even more starkly with my mother's comfortable North Boulder residence with its plush furniture and updated kitchen, the kitchen I financed. My wine cabinet contains exactly 4 glasses. I select one, open a bottle of Merlot I'd been preserving, and pour until the red nearly reaches the brim. The irony isn't lost on me. Drinking alone after purchasing champagne no one stayed to share. My laptop awaits on the coffee table where I'd left it this morning, when I was still filled with optimism, imagining my family's reactions to news of my advancement. Senior Strategic Director, the youngest in company history. I open the computer, take a substantial gulp of wine, and access a folder labeled Personal Finances. Inside lies a spreadsheet I've maintained for 5 years. Family Support 2019 to 2024. The file reveals columns and rows of harsh reality. Numbers don't lie. Numbers don't forget promises or claim traffic delays while actually celebrating someone else's latest purchase. Mom's mortgage, $1,670 monthly times 54 months equals $90,180. Tyler's truck payments, $12,320. Aunt Valerie's medical expenses, $16,890. Uncle Darren's tax debt, $5,400. Countless utility bills, repairs, insurance premiums. Total, $126,782.33. Enough for a house down payment. Enough for worldwide travel twice over. Enough to launch the consulting firm I fantasize about during lunch breaks. The wine burns as I swallow. I set the glass aside and open my banking application. Tomorrow morning, another automatic transfer of $1,670 will process to cover Mom's mortgage, a payment she hasn't acknowledged in over a year. My finger hovers over the cancellation button. The wine emboldens me. I press it, watching the confirmation message appear. For the first time in 5 years, my mother's mortgage won't be my burden tomorrow. I create a new document, typing what I owe myself at the top. The cursor blinks expectantly. I begin listing. Birthday calls on my 34th birthday. None received hospital visits during my appendicitis. None made help moving to this apartment. None offered times asked about my day. 0 times asked for money. 437. My phone buzzes with a text. Mom's name appears. The electric bill is unusually high this month. Can you cover an extra $200? Not. How was your dinner? Not. Sorry we missed your celebration. Just another request. I scroll through our message history. Every text from my mother contains a demand: money for groceries, help with Tyler's insurance, complaints about property taxes. Every message from Tyler begins with "Hey sis" and ends with a dollar amount. My eyes find an email thread from 2021 with a subject: house title change. Mom had persuaded me to remove my name from the property deed while continuing mortgage payments. It's simpler this way, honey. You're still helping with payments regardless. I scroll to a recent photo of my decade-old Honda with 192,000 miles, the check engine light glowing amber on the dashboard. Then I switch to Instagram, where Tyler's new ATV gleams in the sunset, my mother's arm draped proudly around his shoulders. The anger builds in my chest, not as blazing fire, but as something harder, colder, more permanent. A determination crystallizing with each photo, each text, each ignored birthday. I check my bank balance. $1,243 after tonight's extravagant dinner bill. The low balance warning has become a constant presence over the years, appearing after each family emergency. My watch reads 4:17 a.m. when I finally stand, knees stiff from hours of motionless sitting. I grab my car keys and mother's house key from the hook. The drive takes exactly 11 minutes in the pre-dawn stillness. The house sits dark and silent, the house I've financed without inhabiting, where everyone but me belongs. I write a note on an old receipt, my handwriting surprisingly steady. His toy. His house. Your turn. I tape it to the front door, place my house key beneath the mat where we've always kept the spare, and walk away without looking back. In my car, I watch the sunrise paint the house in soft golden light. A weight lifts from my shoulders, not completely, but enough to straighten my spine as I drive away, leaving behind more than just a key. 5 days later, my phone screen illuminates for the 67th time in 24 hours. I know the exact count because my voicemail announces it in a robotic tone that somehow manages to sound disapproving. 67 missed calls since I left the note and my house key. I pour another cup of coffee and place the phone face down on the counter. The silence of my apartment surrounds me like a blanket I've never permitted myself before. No urgent messages to answer. No financial crises to resolve. Just the steady ticking of the kitchen clock and steam rising from my mug. The phone buzzes again, vibrating against the granite. My hand moves toward it, then withdraws. Old reflexes. Instead, I activate the speakerphone on my voicemail and let the messages play while I stand at the window, watching the Colorado peaks turn golden in the morning light. Noelle, it's Mom. Her voice begins soft, almost wounded. Why didn't you inform us? We were depending on you for the mortgage payment. Call me back immediately. Not a word about my empty celebration dinner. Not a single inquiry about why I stopped payment. The next message begins, Sis, it's Tyler. Look, it was just one dinner. You're overreacting. Call Mom. She's panicking about the mortgage. I sip my coffee slowly, feeling something unfamiliar expand in my chest. Not guilt. Not anxiety. Anger. Clean and clarifying like the first crisp breath of winter. This is Valerie. Your mother explained what you did. You're not the only one who works hard, you know. Some of us have genuine problems. My medication. Delete. The sunlight catches on the crystal paperweight my colleagues presented to celebrate my promotion 5 days ago, a lifetime ago. I turn it in my hands, watching rainbow patterns dance across my kitchen wall. My email notification chimes. Another message from Mom, subject line. Valerie will lose her medication. I open it. The message contains a single line. Is this what you want? As I close the email, a Facebook notification appears. Tyler has tagged me in a post. When family abandons you in your time of need, pray they remember what family truly means. The comment section overflows with sympathy, distant relatives and hometown friends offering support to my struggling brother and heartbroken mother. Not one person knows about the $126,000 I've provided them. Not one person knows about the empty table at the Copper Elm. My phone lights up with a private message from a number I rarely see. Uncle Darren. Got a minute to talk? Not taking sides, just worried. I hesitate, then respond. I have a meeting in an hour. Can call after. His reply comes quickly. They've been exploiting you for years, Noelle. I've witnessed it happen. My hands freeze over the screen. In 5 years of financial support, not one family member has acknowledged what was occurring. Uncle Darren's message feels like the first honest conversation I might have. His next text arrives before I can respond. Tyler boasted about it at the bar last month. Said you'd pay for anything if he just mentioned Mom's disappointment. The coffee turns bitter in my mouth. I set the mug down too forcefully, liquid spilling over the rim. Mom is organizing what she calls a family intervention for you, Darren continues. Thursday night at her house. Valerie and Frank will attend. They're planning to make you see reason. I stand perfectly still, letting the information sink in. An intervention, as if my financial independence were an illness requiring treatment. Thank you for the warning, I type back. Someone should have spoken up years ago, he responds. I'm sorry I didn't. I spend the remainder of the morning in deliberate preparation, calling the bank to ensure no one else can access my accounts, emailing my financial advisor to review all automatic payments and cancel any benefiting my family, changing my apartment locks after discovering Mom's spare key in my desk drawer. Then I attend the office for a 3:17 p.m. client meeting. After the meeting concludes, my office phone rings. My assistant's voice comes through, unusually tentative. Noelle, your mother and brother are in the lobby with an ATV. I stand in my office window and look down at the street. There it sits, Tyler's chrome-covered toy, parked illegally in the fire lane. Mom stands beside it, hair perfectly styled, sunglasses perched on her head. Tyler leans against the machine, casual and confident, as if delivering a prize rather than staging an ambush. They say it's a peace offering, my assistant continues. Through the glass, I watch Mom check her reflection in the building's mirrored exterior. Tyler scrolls through his phone, bored. A peace offering that conveniently places me in a position where I can't react honestly without creating a scene at my workplace. Noelle, they're asking if you're coming down. Several colleagues have paused at the lobby windows, watching the spectacle. The ATV gleams in the afternoon sun, an $11,000 monument to my family's priorities. Miss Harper, what should I tell them? I turn away from the window and sit at my desk, pulling up the quarterly report I'd been working on before the interruption. The numbers align in orderly rows, predictable, logical. Unlike family. Tell them I'm in a meeting, I say, my voice steady. And Jordan, if they return, I'm still in that meeting. Understood. The relief in her voice is evident. I work until sunset, the glow of my computer screen replacing the fading daylight. By the time I pack up to leave, the ATV and its escorts are long gone. In their place, my phone shows 23 new messages, each more desperate than the last. I delete them all without listening. Walking to my car in the empty parking garage, my footsteps echo against concrete. Each step feels different somehow, lighter, more purposeful. For the first time in years, I'm walking away from a family crisis rather than toward it. The mountains stand silhouetted against the darkening sky as I drive home, present, solid, and unchanging. Tomorrow the bank will contact Mom about the missed mortgage payment. Tomorrow she'll realize I'm not coming to fix it. As always, tomorrow I'll continue breathing this unfamiliar oxygen called freedom. The mortgage statement remained unopened on Noelle's kitchen counter for 3 days. She'd never allowed a bill to sit that long before. Her phone, silenced and face down on the coffee table, buzzed again, the screen illuminating with Mom's name for the 4th time that hour. Noelle held her coffee cup and observed a red bird settling on her apartment's balcony rail. The early sunlight illuminated its vibrant crimson wings, making them glow against the soft azure sky. She had never paid attention to birds from her flat before. The bank's recorded message arrived exactly at 9 o'clock. Good morning, Mrs. Harper. This is Boulder Community Bank's automated payment notification. The home loan for account number ending in 4721 is currently 5 days overdue. Please reach out to our office to prevent additional penalty charges. Noelle erased the voicemail without feeling any remorse. The home loan wasn't under her name, even though she had dutifully made payments for 54 consecutive months. Having the deed in Paula's name had been her mother's suggestion. It's simply more convenient this way, sweetheart, her mother had argued 3 years earlier. You're already contributing to the payments regardless. Her cell phone chimed again, this time with a message. Paula, the bank contacted me regarding the mortgage. They mentioned it's overdue. Noelle placed her cup down gently. Another message appeared before she could type a response. Paula, could you take care of it? Tyler's under tremendous pressure right now. The red bird took flight, frightened by something Noelle couldn't identify. She opened her computer rather than responding, pulling up her financial planning document. The section titled Family Support had been removed, substituted with Future Property Fund. The amounts were the same, but the purpose had shifted. A rap at her entrance made her jump. Noelle, I'm aware you're inside. Tyler's strained voice drifted through the door. Mom mentioned you're ignoring her calls. She positioned herself at the entrance, palms suspended above the handle, but didn't rotate it. I was terminated yesterday, he went on. The supervisor said I was absent too frequently. But you understand the situation. And now the four-wheeler payment. I'm unable to assist you anymore, Tyler. Her tone sounded more confident than she felt.
What?
Just unlock the door? We must discuss this. No, we don't. Noelle pressed her back against the wall, shutting her eyes. You missed my achievement celebration to purchase something you couldn't pay for. Now you expect me to save you from the results. Quiet extended between them, interrupted only by Tyler's breathing. That's unfair, he eventually mumbled. That celebration was only for one evening. This is urgent. It was urgent to me. The statement emerged more harshly than she meant. But that's irrelevant to all of you, isn't it? I've been managing everything for everyone else so long. You've forgotten I'm an individual too. Come on, Noelle, you're making this much bigger than it is. His voice changed to the pleading tone that typically succeeded. Could you at least guarantee a modest loan just to help me manage? Until I secure another position? The familiar burden descended across her shoulders, her brother's troubles transforming into hers to resolve. For an instant, she nearly surrendered. Then her eyes found the framed advancement certificate her coworkers had signed. Youngest senior strategy director in company history, an achievement she had celebrated by herself.
No.
What? I said no, Tyler. Not any longer. His knuckles struck the door forcefully enough to startle her. You selfish witch. After everything we've provided for you. Noelle chuckled, the sound harsh and strange. What precisely have any of you provided except demands? Family supports family? He yelled. That's the system. Is it? Because from my perspective, it appears I support and you demand. That's not family. That's abuse. Footsteps echoed down the corridor as Tyler stormed off. Noelle slid down the wall until she sat on the ground, pulse pounding against her chest. Her phone rang again. Paula's contact. This time, she picked up. Where's my mortgage money? Paula demanded, bypassing any hello. Where were you when I was sitting by myself at the Copper Elm? Paula's tone became artificially sweet. Darling, we've discussed this. Tyler required our support with his new acquisition. You know his reaction when he feels excluded. And how do you think I felt, Mom? Sitting at a table for 5, watching the sparkling wine lose its fizz while you celebrated his reckless purchase. You're being overly emotional. It was simply dinner. It wasn't simply dinner. Noelle rose, energized by the fury flowing through her. It was the ultimate confirmation that I'm meaningless to all of you unless I'm providing money. That's false. We care about you. You're just more capable than Tyler. Capable of being exploited. Noelle Elizabeth Harper. How dare you address me like that? After everything I've given up. What precisely have you given up, Mom? Because from my view, I've been covering your mortgage, handling Tyler's errors, and financing Aunt Valerie's medicine for years. The quiet stretched between them, tight as a cable. Is this truly the conclusion? Paula finally questioned, her voice weak. Noelle gazed at her image in the glass, spine straight, head high, eyes focused for the first time in years. It's the conclusion of me pretending this was affection. She terminated the call and blocked the contact. Her hands remained steady as she poured fresh coffee. Outside, the cardinal had come back, now accompanied by its partner. They moved along the railing, crimson against the blue dawn sky, free to arrive and depart as they wished. A week afterward, Tyler materialized in the glass-enclosed reception area of Pinnacle Consulting like an approaching tempest. His face flushed and jaw clenched, he marched before the front desk, voice escalating with each circuit until heads turned from every direction. Family crisis, he declared to the receptionist. My sister must come down immediately. I observed from the upper-level balcony, my fingers clutching the barrier until my knuckles became white. 3 coworkers stood nearby, their confused looks shifting between Tyler's display below and my tense stance. That's my brother, I stated, the words abrading my throat like coarse paper. Want security to intervene? Asked Marcus, our HR manager. I declined.
No.
This was inevitable. The elevator journey felt like descending beneath water. Each level announced itself with false cheerfulness, while my stomach formed knots. The doors opened to show Tyler gesturing wildly to an expanding crowd of receptionists, guards, and interested colleagues. Finally, he rushed forward, reducing his voice to a dramatic murmur that traveled perfectly across the stone floor. Mom's panicking. The bank contacted her about the mortgage again. I moved away when he attempted to grasp my arm. Did you arrive here in your four-wheeler? His act stumbled. What? No, I used public transport. Are you paying attention? The mortgage. Contact the bank yourself. I maintained an even tone despite the heat climbing up my neck. You're 32 years old. That's always been your responsibility, he said, brow furrowing with genuine bewilderment. I assumed you'd always manage things. The plain reality of it crushed through years of self-deception. That's the issue, I responded. So did I. Tyler's gaze swept around the lobby, noticing our observers. He adjusted his posture, hand combing through hair that hadn't received a professional trim since I'd last funded one. Look, the position at Carson's concluded. The four-wheeler payment is overdue. His voice increased again, perfectly adjusted for witnesses. Are you truly going to desert your family when we require you most? Heat climbed from my collar to my hairline. For a moment, I considered what I'd always done, agreeing, promising to resolve it, writing another check to maintain harmony. But peace had always been bought with fragments of myself. I was terminated, he continued, tears suddenly forming. The four-wheeler might be seized. A colleague who'd appeared from the elevator behind me whispered, What's occurring? Something broke inside me, not with the quiet snap of the restaurant evening, but with the thunder of a barrier bursting after years of strain. My brother purchased an $11,000 toy the evening. He skipped my advancement celebration, I said, turning toward my gathered co-workers with unexpected composure. Now he's here because the payment is overdue. The astonishment on their faces reflected what must have been on mine that evening at the Copper Elm. Noel. Tyler hissed, color leaving his face. That's private family matters. So was my advancement celebration, I replied. But you made that public on social media while I sat alone with a $300 bottle of champagne nobody consumed. The lobby became silent. Tyler's performance collapsed like a deflated balloon. You've always been the dependable one, he muttered, but the words held no strength now. And you've always relied on that. I stepped back toward the elevator. Not any longer. My phone vibrated in my pocket as I walked away. 30 minutes later, a group message from Mom claimed Aunt Valerie couldn't pay for her medication, that I was ruining the family, that they might lose everything. Before I could respond, Uncle Darren's reply appeared. I just accompanied her to collect her prescription. She's fine. Mom's response arrived quickly. Darren, you're turning everyone against me. My thumbs paused over the screen before typing. The truth does that sometimes. I blocked their contacts before the elevator reached my floor. That evening, I contacted my investment advisor and converted some assets, enough for a deposit on a condominium overlooking the mountains. I changed my phone number, sharing it only with Uncle Darren and reliable friends from work. The freedom tasted metallic and bitter, painful but purifying. Uncle Darren's final message arrived as I signed the purchase contract for my new residence. You were never selfish. You were just surrounded by users. I composed a certified letter to Mom outlining conditions for any future communication. No financial requests. Respect for my career and life decisions. Acknowledgement of past exploitation. Her unsigned response contained a single sentence. How could you do this to family? She still didn't comprehend. Family wasn't supposed to be something you did things to. It was supposed to be something you did things with. I attached her letter to my refrigerator as a reminder, not of shame, but of understanding. When the temptation to return to old behaviors emerged, I'd see those words and remember why I maintained my position. The burden hadn't been the money. It had been supporting people who never intended to stand on their own. 6 months flowed by like water through open fingers. I stand on my condo terrace, watching April sunlight transform Boulder into artwork. The mountains rise like steady guardians in the distance, constant while everything else has changed. Inside, my new space breathes with me rather than against me. Potted plants line the kitchen windowsill: basil, mint, rosemary, green proof of consistency and attention. A wall of windows welcomes light across the wooden floors I chose myself. No mortgage payments except my own. The framed photograph on my mantelpiece catches the morning light. My colleagues surrounding me, champagne glasses lifted in genuine celebration. 6 months after the empty table at the Copper Elm, they insisted on a proper recognition dinner. This time, I wasn't alone. My phone rings. Uncle Darren's name appears on the display. "The sign went up yesterday," he says without introduction. "Your mother finally listed the house." I absorb this without the sharp guilt I once would have experienced. "How is she handling it?" "About as well as you'd anticipate." His voice carries the burden of witnessing the consequences. "Tyler moved back in after they seized that ridiculous four-wheeler. Your aunt discovered a prescription assistance program through her physician's office. And Mom's telling everyone who'll listen that her daughter deserted her." He pauses. Nobody's believing it anymore. The words settle without crushing me. "Progress," my therapist would note. "You're still coming Sunday?" I ask, changing topics. "Wouldn't miss it." Lisa's bringing her renowned potato salad. We discuss ordinary things: his garden, my weekend plans, a book we both appreciated. When we end the call, I don't feel exhausted. Another small triumph. On my laptop, I open my budget spreadsheet. The personal investment category now contains real numbers: a weekend photography class, a properly fitted bicycle, concert tickets. My retirement accounts show consistent growth. The family emergency fund has been renamed Travel Fund, with enough saved for 2 weeks in Portugal this fall. 2 hours later, a knock at my door reveals Melissa, the junior analyst for my department. We settle at my kitchen island, steam rising from coffee mugs between us. "I cancel the check," she says, fingers shaking slightly around her cup. "My brother called me ungrateful, but I still canceled it." I reach across to squeeze her hand. That's bravery. Does the guilt ever disappear? Her eyes search mine, hungry for reassurance. "It transforms," I tell her, "into something quieter. Something that reminds you of growth rather than loss." She nods, understanding blooming across her face. I recognize myself in her, the previous version who measured worth by what she gave rather than who she was. My calendar alerts me with a reminder: dinner with friends at 7. Not colleagues or networking contacts, but actual friends who know my preferred wine and worst jokes. People who celebrate my successes without keeping tallies. As Melissa departs, the sun shifts to afternoon gold. My phone buzzes with an unknown number. 6 months ago, I would have answered immediately, heart racing with fear of another family crisis. Today, I silence it without hesitation. On my balcony, 3 small clay pots cradle seedlings, gifts from Uncle Darren. Late bloomers, he called them with a knowing smile. They take their time, but they're worth the wait. I touch a tender green leaf, marveling at its determination. The burden I carried for years wasn't measured in dollars, though the ledger helped me see it. The true weight was heavier, carrying people who never intended to walk independently. Now my shoulders straighten without effort. The mountain view stretches before me, boundless and waiting.